So the speaker for the point of pointless projects, Henrik Blidh, is please welcome to the stage. Yeah.
Okay. Hello and welcome to this this presentation called "The Point of Pointless Projects." I had prepared for the small room, so hopefully the presentation is you can see everything I want you to see here as well. So I'm going to tell you about some spare time programming projects of mine, and I'll try to extrapolate some insights about such projects in general. My name is Henrik Blidh. I've got a master's degree in engineering mathematics. And this is how you can get in touch with me. So as such, I'm not a programmer. This is my programming history. I started out in MATLAB at the early stages of my education. It was I regarded it as a necessary evil to do what I needed to do. And later courses branched out into Java and C, but my main language was still MATLAB. And I started working in 2008, still using MATLAB. And I was acquainted with Python first in 2010, when a newly hired employee suggested that maybe we should port our code from MATLAB to get a better maintainability. And since I had built a distributed computational cluster in C#, and connecting that to MATLAB, I felt that it might be a good idea, and I haven't looked back since. So this talk will present maybe 4 years worth of spare time coding, focusing very little on the actual code I wrote, but more on the intended and unintended effects of the coding. Almost all projects lead to some kind of increase in experience and knowledge, but I won't go into everything I learned. That would be very tedious, and you would find it tremendously boring. But to me, it's no coincidence that my true onset for the love of coding that I now have came after I started to feel comfortable with Python. I find Python exceptional in its potential for rapid development, that one can get quite a lot done in half an hour before bed, or an hour during commuting to and from work. So important, just so we're clear, I love pointless projects, and pointless is by no means the same as worthless. Just so you don't so you know what I mean when I talk about the pointless projects. This is a personal and very incomplete definition, but pointless projects are, in my eyes, something that is of little or no use to the general public and created for either educational or artistical purposes, just because it's fun to do, and then some optional properties. They're often very time-consuming, and they solve simple tasks in complex or complicated manners. They might be the wrong way of performing an issue at hand, and as such, they might address aspects of the issue that is not often scrutinized. So let's look at some examples from the web of pointless projects I've found there. Reenacting the Norwegian author Karl Ove Knausgård's books in Lego on Instagram. Lovely project. Brainfuck, the programming language. Most of you will probably have heard of that. This is Hello World. Building useless machines. This is also, I love this. And basically every Sudoku solver ever written. Has anyone written one? A few. The advent of my pointless projects, my father-in-law gave me a book of 365 Sudokus for Christmas in 2012. And I solved about 3 of them and thought, this could be automated. It could. So I decided to write a Sudoku solver in pure Python with no dependencies. And I could solve Sudokus from the terminal. And when it was done, I realized I would never use this. is I had to enter the Sudokus manually. Hopeless. So the desired output was the Sudoku solver. Unexpected output, I had to write a package for parsing images and extracting the Sudokus from the images, of course. So you have an image like this. You find the Sudoku, and you extract the digits, and you solve it. And yeah, the terminal input was much shorter, but the idea was I would use scikit image, since OpenCV is so you can't pip install it. So I decided to go with an alternate route, and I soon discovered I needed some kind of OCR, optical character recognition solution for making these images of digits into text digits. And after doing some failed tests with Tesseract, I decided, well, I'll do it myself then. So I read some papers and decided on elliptical Fourier descriptors. That would be lovely, and some machine learning on top of that. So you got the features and just shove it into scikit-learn. I couldn't find any good implementation of elliptical Fourier descriptors online. So I wrote a package, or it was included in the Sudoku extract solution. But this actually turned out to be the real interesting part. It's a way of describing contours, shapes with an array of the numbers, and that is good because then you can use them as features for training classifiers. So I trained the nearest neighbors classifier, and yeah, it works pretty nice. It's decent. It's not flawless, but when I was done, I realized I would never use this. I had to take an image, save it to disk, and then pipe it through this. Hopeless. So I had to make a web interface for this. So I made one. Oh, it's disappeared up there. I called it Xanadu, shoved it up on Heroku, and well, there it is. Desired output, this Sudoku solver, and finally, the Sudoku project is at an end. I was happy. I moved on to something else. At work, I got an assignment to do an ASP.NET project using BankID, the Swedish digital identification solution. And no one had done this on Python before, apparently, so I did it myself. The BankID applications behave differently when called on iOS and Android, and from different what do you call it, web browsers, of course. And so I wanted to explore this test matrix of how you should have done it. I did this when this assignment was done. So I felt like I don't want to do this in C# in ASP.NET. Let's do it in Python instead, because that will be more efficient since I am more proficient in Python, I think. So the BankID exploration project started out as a small Flask application. Turned out that the real output was actually the BankID client for Python, and as I was doing it in Flask, it became an Flask extension as well. So the desired output was the Flask web application exploring the uses of BankID. I never got around to try it out because the other things was so much more fun to do. So I did that and then pushed it up onto GitHub and moved on to something else. But it had this exploration project had a pretty decent project fallout, right? So let's look at something else I did concurrently, actually. A friend of mine called me and said, how would I go about measuring the output power when I lift weights? He's an amateur weightlifter and lifts this heavy stuff. And he wants to measure stuff. So he asked me, since I've been working with accelerometers and gyroscopes for several years. So yay, prototype time. I bought a Raspberry Pi, and I had recently backed this little project on Kickstarter. So a sensor chip with these sensors that arrived at my doorstep. So off we go. I built a client for this, communication client for this little chip. And of course, being a Kickstarter project, it didn't have any calibration from factory, so I had to implement a calibration procedure as well. And that turned out pretty nice. And my friend, who isn't a programmer, he didn't want to use the terminal for recording data, so I built a web interface for him as well. I bet you can see where I'm heading with this. But strapping a Raspberry Pi to a barbell isn't very practical now, is it? It's way too big. So during the prototype stage, I backed some other projects on Kickstarter. I back a lot of projects. So when I was done with the Raspberry stuff, these Bluetooth low energy sensors arrived at my doorstep. And okay, they had iOS, Android, and C++ APIs. Guess if they had any Python ones. No, they did not. And this one is currently ongoing, so I can't say much about the expected output yet, but it's looking pretty nice, and we'll probably yield at least one pull request to some Bluetooth low energy communication library in Python. Oh, just one more, okay? I play the violin as well. I joined the local folk community association in 2012, where I live. I became treasurer immediately, kind of like the Pycon Sweden solution. If you join up, I bet you'll get some of the heavier positions immediately. And as I went deeper into the paperwork of this association, I found that they had massive amounts of material collected from 1929 and forward. Sheet music, member publications, paper clippings, audio interviews, video recordings, photos that no one benefited from in their current state. And as a believer in online availability for all things, I started thinking, yes, let's build an archive. And still, used Flask once more. I love Flask. I deployed it at Google App Engine. I stored the data about the documents that I scanned in MongoDB, and I was serving the PDFs from Dropbox. And the desired output was a constantly available archive for the members, running free of charge because, yeah, there's not a lot of money in the non-profit association business. But some unexpected output was, I didn't know MongoDB very well back then. I had some experience and I wanted to know it better. And MongoDB had just started offering courses online. So I took the courses they had, and apparently as being some kind of early adopter, they gave me some certification exams to take. And I took them, and now I'm a certified MongoDB developer and database admin. It's just, thank you. Nice to get some proper rewards for doing association stuff. And it also became two accepted pull requests to the Flask PyMongo project. And I had to write a REST API client for Google App Engine, since Google App Engine, at that time, I don't know how it is now, didn't accept using requests or opening sockets. And do you notice the past tense in the list above? I built another one. Kind of branching out, making it more efficient, serving images from Cloudinary, getting the scaling for free this time, a huge hassle. Eliminated. And it's still constantly available, and it's running free of charge, now deployed at Heroku. Some unexpected output, PDF manipulation GUI. I haven't open sourced yet. Maybe I will, maybe not. It's a bit rough around the edges. And a lot of hugs from the older members of the association. It's not really unexpected, but still very nice. Some other projects during the same time that didn't have so much unexpected output. It's a multiple instance learning boosting algorithm that hooks into scikit-learn. An ellipse fitting algorithm implemented in fixed point C. That one's pretty nifty. And a Python client for Nordnet Bank's data API services. I haven't open sourced it. Maybe I will. Need some unit tests first. You might be asking yourself, is this just very long humble brag. Well, in a way. But it's also a love song to spare time coding. Because none of these packages are in any danger of becoming household Python packages, really. Do I really believe that they are worth presenting to others, to you? Can it be justified putting 200 plus hours into an archive, benefiting maybe 200 people? Yes, of course. Common to all the projects that I've talked about here is that they could almost always have been solved simpler. In the Sudoku case, why did you build your own OCR solution? Why not use one that is available? In the sensor rigs, why not grab a sensor rig that has the APIs that you want, or that are calibrated from factory? In the archive case, why didn't you just post the scan material to a WordPress page since you weren't paid? These questions and other ones like, why didn't you use package X to do this instead? Or don't you know that it's wrong to parse HTML with regular expressions? They are the natural enemies of the pointless project. The self-imposed boundaries and restrictions are a vital part of the pointless project. Most often they make the difference between a pointless project with beneficial fallout, sidetrack, spin-offs, and a pointless project that just gives you some experience. So, as per usual, it is the journey that is the actual point of the pointless project. Here illustrated by the poem "The Road Not Taken" by Robert Frost. I studied literature before I started programming. And it's a very common conclusion that the journey is the actual point, but it's worth iterating once more, I think. It is the road less traveled that yields the unexpected, that initiates this odyssey of code that takes you to new places and that enables you to make glorious mistakes. The initial ideas of the projects intermingle and spawn new ones, which opens your world to the unexpected. So, and the things I did because I was excited and wanted to see them exist they've never let me down, and I've never regretted any of the time I spent on any of them. Thank you for listening.
QA time, yes?
Yeah, the OCR part of the web archive, what library they use, or did you use your own?
The OCR part. I built my own. It's a nearest neighbors classifier, trained on the MNIST dataset available online. So, and using these elliptical Fourier descriptors as features. It's decent, and it works for the digits 1 to 9, and not very much else. No, the sheet music doesn't use. Oh, the OCR there. There I use the Tesseract. It's just a very rough. Sorry, I misunderstood. There I use the Tesseract library, and the PyTesseract.
So the question was about the web archive with searchability, OCR searchability, and you use the Tesseract OCR for
Yes.
that, not your own. Okay.
No, not mine.
Because that was only for numbers.
That was only for the
perfect,
numbers.
thank you.
Sorry.
Any other questions?
What university did you graduate from?
Oh, I went to Lund Technical Institute.
For the Sudoku project, you could extend it by using some kind of constraint programming library that will speed up your Sudoku resolving if you're just using backtracking at the moment. Just an idea for another pointless project.
It is. It could be readily improved. It's using the dancing links implementation of Algorithm X by Donald Knuth. It runs about 0.2, 0.5 seconds. So when I get really out of other projects, maybe I will improve it. Yes, the constraints programming is a beautiful way of spending some more time.
Any other questions? Anyone else want to share their pointless project experience with Henrik? Thank you, Henrik. Yeah, big applause.